It's 2 a.m. in Bangkok and all of the city's famous night markets are closed by now, right? Well, not quite. I stumbled upon this one right when it was setting up. It was an incredible discovery because unlike other markets, this one has almost everything that is illegal to sell in Thailand. And I'm talking about the type of things that can land you in jail for many years if the police catch you with them. Over the last 2 years, I've been exploring every single corner of Bangkok, so I've found some of the best hidden night markets, food stalls, bars, and secret rooftop pools. And today I'm going to show you my favorite spots to visit after dark. Let's start with a legendary night market that only opens once a month. This is a huge flea market located inside an old and abandoned train station. I bet you didn't even know existed. On the surface, it looks like your typical vintage market full of clothes, bags, and accessories. But if you know where to look, you can find some very interesting items. This is a handmade bomb reel. What? Not a fan of those? How about a nice pair of elephant tusks or maybe one of these monkey skulls? And there were so many other weird things to buy here, but they were either too big or too heavy to carry around. You can tell how popular this market is because most of the products are sold out by the time it ends at 8 p.m. If you want to visit this place, it can be tough to get in because security guards check IDs and try to keep out anyone who looks too foreign. The best way to get past them is to dress like a local. A pro tip: always bring cash because all of the vendors here prefer not to accept cards. After this, I headed to a floating market, but not just any floating market. This is the biggest one in all of Bangkok. Located next to Chinatown, it has more than 300 stalls selling all kinds of delicious food. And I mean everything from durian to grilled fish to sweet coconut candy. Even though this place looks absolutely stunning, it was definitely challenging to film and navigate while standing on a tiny boat. But there was one thing that surprised me even more. Most people don't realize that this floating market is actually open during the day as well. And although it's smaller, it's a lot less crowded. Next, I took a long walk through Chinatown. This area is one of my favorite places to explore because there are so many different streets filled with amazing street food. But there's also another reason why Chinatown is so exciting at night. That's because these stunning neon signs reflect off the wet roads, making for some beautiful reflections and an epic light show. As I walked through the streets, I tried all kinds of tasty snacks like deep-fried crab and pork floss. But nothing could have prepared me for what came next. Tucked away in an alley was a little restaurant serving up some of the most authentic Thai food I've ever tasted. This place isn't fancy or over-decorated, but it doesn't need to be because the quality of the food speaks for itself. They make everything fresh to order and wait until you see what comes out of this wok. Look at these gigantic prawns. They were served with garlic and spring onion and then topped with a spicy and savory sauce. And then there were these juicy chicken wings. They were perfectly golden and covered in a sticky and sweet glaze. I loved it. And I haven't even shown you the main dish yet. These crispy pork ribs were so tender and delicious. I literally fell in love with them. And the portion size was enough to share with all of my friends. I loved this meal so much that I went back the following week. And even though everything was just as good the second time around, I had to try something new. This papaya salad was tangy, sour, and super spicy. I could barely handle it. Then there was this delicious curry with coconut milk and heaps of fresh basil. And finally, I got to try one of their famous stir-fried rice dishes. Every ingredient had its own distinct flavor, and the fried egg added a nice richness to the whole thing. But honestly, it was really hard to finish all of this food, so I ended up taking half of it home. After this, I stopped by one of my favorite dessert shops in all of Bangkok. They specialize in these thick and creamy coconut puddings, and my personal favorite is the one with the salted caramel sauce. But the one that everyone seems to love the most is the pandan with purple sweet potato. These taste so good, you have to try them. Next, I headed over to Khao San Road, which is one of the most famous streets in Bangkok. But I wasn't just going there for the backpacker vibe or the affordable food. There's a secret spot on this street that locals go to for a nightcap. Now, I've been coming to this place for the past 5 years, and every time I come back, it looks completely different. Some nights there's a Muay Thai boxing match on the corner, other times there's a live band playing pop hits, but no matter what happens, there's always a great atmosphere here. And it's a really cool place to meet people from all around the world. The locals love to sit on these stools and sip on glasses of whiskey while chatting with new friends. You know you're in Thailand when you see someone walking around with a whole fried fish in their mouth. Can you imagine? That's actually a delicacy here called pla noon, and it tastes pretty good for something that used to swim in water. Also, it's important to try a Thai classic called chang, which is a strong rice-based liquor that's about 4 times stronger than vodka. I think I'll stick to beer next time. So far, I've taken you to a floating market, a night market, an authentic Thai restaurant, and a buzzing street bar. But now I'm going to show you the ultimate hidden gem. In Bangkok, a secret rooftop pool that no tourists know about. Honestly, I'm surprised this place hasn't been demolished yet because it's built on top of an old and run-down building. The steps are falling apart and there are stray cats everywhere. But as soon as you walk through the door, it feels like you've entered a whole new world. I've never seen anything like this before. It has a massive swimming pool, a jacuzzi, a steam room, and even a sauna. And the best part is that it costs only $5. This place is so off the beaten path that most of the customers are locals, and let me tell you, they know how to have a good time. Here's a quick sauna etiquette lesson. When you enter the sauna, you must pour a bucket of ice-cold water on yourself to help lower your body temperature. And when you sweat, you use this metal glove to wipe it off. Now, I'm not sure if this is a health hazard or not, but it's definitely a fun experience. I do recommend bringing your own towel, though, because the ones they provide are pretty gross. At first, I was worried that the language barrier would make it difficult to socialize, but turns out all of the locals were very friendly, and most of them were open to practicing their English. We had a great chat, and they even gave me some advice on where else to travel in Thailand. Now, even though this place might not look like much from the outside, it's a definite hidden gem and a unique experience that you won't forget. I'd love to know your thoughts on this place. Would you visit or would you rather stay somewhere more luxurious? Here are Bangkok's craziest 2 a.m. street food secrets. There are no words to describe how amazing this place is. This is probably my new favorite Thai restaurant. They have a super diverse menu with all kinds of different soups, salads, curries, stir-fries, seafood, and meat dishes. But the reason why this place is so special is because of their freshly blended coconut juice. I've never seen anything like it before. First, they will open up the coconut, then they will scoop out some of the soft coconut meat and blend it right into the coconut water. The result is this sweet, fresh, creamy coconut drink that tastes absolutely insane. You can see the difference between a normal coconut and one that has been blended. It is just so much better. Next, we tried one of their most popular dishes, which is the crab and pork floss spring onion pancake. Normally, pancakes are savory and greasy, but this one was super sweet and fluffy. It was very well seasoned, and combined with the fresh salad, juicy tomato, and creamy chili sauce, it was really delicious. We also got their signature beer and shrimp chips, which were crispy, packed with flavor, and went really nicely with the sweet chili sauce. Another must-try appetizer is the crispy soft-shell crab. The crab was so juicy and succulent, it literally fell apart. And the cucumber salad added a nice contrasting crunchiness and freshness to the dish. For the main meal, I started off with the green curry with chicken and jasmine rice. It had a nice kick to it, but it wasn't too spicy, and the chicken was extremely tender. Next, I tried the pineapple fried rice with shrimp and cashew nuts. It had a great amount of sweetness from both the pineapple and the raisins. The shrimp was delicious as well, and for the first time ever, I actually enjoyed eating cashew nuts in a dish. It was so satisfying. Then I got the deep-fried sea bass with mixed vegetables and steamed rice. The fish was incredibly flaky and moist. Honestly, this was one of the best Thai fish dishes I've ever tried. It was so good. And last but not least, I had to try their signature massaman beef curry with roti bread. The beef was slow cooked until it was super tender and it had an incredible rich and creamy texture. The aroma and the taste was just so enticing. Overall, this is definitely one of the best restaurants in town. And even though it's quite pricey at 300 baht per person, I would come back in a heartbeat. In between bites of food, I sipped on this refreshing watermelon juice. It was so juicy and hydrating. The owner even gave us free deep-fried crab claws to enjoy, so make sure to visit this place if you're around. And now let's find some more crazy 2 a.m. street food. These guys were selling grilled chicken hearts, and I couldn't resist. These tasted like oversized gizzards. They had a smooth, chewy texture similar to chicken thighs and were covered in a sweet and sticky grilled sauce. Next, we found this woman who was making grilled pork floss skewers. It was so fun seeing her use these giant chopsticks to flip the meat. The pork was super juicy and had a slightly chewy texture. I've never seen anyone sell mango sticky rice in the middle of the night, so I had to give it a try. The sticky rice had a bouncy and soft texture, and the mango tasted fresh, sweet, and juicy. Now we're heading over to Chinatown, where the real party is happening. This guy was making some kind of soup dumplings. He would take the hot soup, put it into the dumpling wrappers, then fold them up and immediately serve them to his customers. I got my hands on one and it was so worth it. It had a nice sour tomatoey soup inside, and the wrapper had a smooth and chewy texture. This shop specializes in fried garlic and peppered crab. The aroma was so enticing. After being deep-fried, they cover it with a sweet garlic sauce and serve it with a side of fried garlic cloves. I tried one and it had a delicious garlicky and peppery flavor. Next, we stopped by this noodle and candy store. They were making fresh egg noodles right in front of you. And look at this giant candy they were making. I grabbed a bag of these colorful candies for 50 cents. These taste like gummy bears, so chewy and sweet. And of course, we couldn't forget about ice cream. We got a $5 ice cream with red beans. It was so smooth, creamy, and refreshing. And the red beans added a nice chewy texture and a touch of sweetness. We walked around exploring more parts of Chinatown and stumbled upon this coffee shop. The owner was nice enough to give me free samples of their egg coffee. Now this is what I call a party drink. It's a mix of espresso, condensed milk, and egg yolk, topped with whipped cream and chocolate sprinkles. It tasted so rich, thick, and creamy. If you want to feel extra fancy, you can even get one with cinnamon. Next, we went to this ramen and sushi spot. They were serving up bowls of ramen for only 40 cents. I got my hands on one and it was surprisingly really good. The broth was flavorful and the noodles were soft and chewy. They also gave me free dumplings, which were soft, squishy, and had a tasty soup inside. And of course, I couldn't forget about the star of the show, the giant Buddha. At 30 meters tall, it is one of the largest standing Buddhas in Thailand. The craftsmanship and detail on this statue is truly amazing. After taking in the beauty of the temple, we headed back home. Next up on our adventure is this amazing snack. It might look like a sweet coconut candy, but trust me, it's savory. It's basically a crunchy coconut brittle with pieces of dried squid. Squid was so chewy and had a nice salty and sweet flavor. The combination of textures and flavors was really unique. I've never seen anything like this sweet and sour spaghetti. The noodles were soft and chewy, and the chunks of pork floss were so fluffy and absorbent. It was interesting seeing a different way of cooking spaghetti. Next, we stopped by this stall that was serving up some delicious-looking croquettes. They had a golden and crispy exterior and a fluffy and soft interior. The pork floss croquettes were especially delicious. They were so well seasoned and packed with flavor. We then ventured over to another part of town where we stumbled upon this dessert buffet. For 70 cents, you get an entire plate of deliciousness. There were so many different desserts to choose from, including these amazing pandan and coconut sticky rice balls. These were so soft, bouncy, and fluffy. The coconut sticky rice had a nice chewy texture, and the pandan one had a smooth and grassy flavor. Next, we tried these coconut and bean popsicles. These were so refreshing and hydrating in the heat. And of course, no street food tour is complete without trying some fruits. I got a $5 fruit platter, which had a nice variety of tropical fruits. The watermelon was so juicy and sweet. The mango was soft and luscious. The passion fruits were tangy and aromatic, and the longan tasted fresh and crisp. And last but not least, we stopped by this amazing noodle and candy shop. They had so many different types of noodles and candy on display, and the colors were so vibrant. I got a $5 bag of mixed noodles and candies. The noodles were soft, chewy, and had a nice salty and sweet flavor. And the candies were soft, squishy, and had a great chewy texture. Overall, this was an amazing culinary adventure, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed eating it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. This is everything you will find in Bangkok at 2 a.m. So these are the 8 craziest things that you can eat in Bangkok after midnight. Starting off at number 1, we have one of my favorite Thai snacks, which is called hom mali. Now these are grilled rice paper rolls, and they are kind of like spring onion pancakes. They are very savory and crispy. And in between the rolls, you can put in various ingredients like pork floss or even mango. But I'm just going to go with the classic pork floss, and I'm going to dip it into this sweet chili sauce. And honestly, it doesn't get much better than this. The crispy, savory rolls combined with the fluffy, airy pork floss. This is such a good snack, and it's so fun to eat. Next up, we have crab claws, which were actually pretty hard to track down, but these guys had them. You can see how juicy they are. These were soft, succulent, and meaty, and I loved sucking on these for their intense crab flavor. It was amazing. And then we also got some super fresh and juicy blue swimming crab. These were cooked to perfection, and they were just too delicious to handle. You know, there is nothing quite like eating fresh seafood on the side of the road in Thailand. After this, we made our way to another part of town where we started to discover more amazing food. Starting off with these giant river prawns. Now these were grilled and topped with fried garlic and spring onion. Oh, and did I mention these were also fried? So they were super crunchy on the outside and then succulent and meaty on the inside. I tried the fried version because I heard that it was insanely good, and I wasn't disappointed. This was a huge hit. We also got these deep-fried fish cakes, which were served with a sweet chili sauce and peanuts, and these were super tasty. And then we also followed a bunch of locals and tourists to this stall where they had giant freshwater prawns and whole deal fish. These were served with a tangy and spicy dipping sauce. And oh my God, if you love sucking the head, then these were insanely good. The taste of the prawn was incredibly rich, creamy, and decadent. And then the head was also amazing. You can see how juicy and flavorful it is. And then we also tried the whole deal fish, which was actually soft and flaky. And yeah, this thing really packs a punch of flavor. Now after this, we made our way back to the original night market, where we started our journey. And look what we found. We found these freshly grilled and juicy chicken hearts. These were super soft and bouncy, and they had an amazing smoky flavor. We also grabbed a freshly grilled chicken wing, which was super juicy and fleshy. We tried a crocodile skewer, which was actually really bony, but it had an interesting, smoky, and unique flavor. We also got a grilled pork rib, which was super meaty and tender. And then we also tried a grilled beef skewer, which had a nice char-grilled flavor. Then as we were making our way home, we stopped by this place where they make fresh coconut candy. And you can see how they pull the coconut milk into long strands. It's like magic. And then once it cools down, they cut it up into bite-sized pieces. It has a chewy texture and a sweet coconut flavor. It's kind of like coconut taffy. Throughout this video, I've been drinking this sweet coconut, which came straight from the coconut. I absolutely love this. If you want to support, please leave a big thumbs up. And now let's move on to number 7. We have something completely different, which is a dessert called kanam cha-cha. Now these are steamed buns filled with a sweet bean and coconut mixture. They have a soft, chewy texture and a strong coconut flavor. And then it's covered in a generous amount of grated coconut. I think it's safe to say that this is one of my new favorite desserts. But wait, we're not done yet because this is only the beginning of the sweet tooth journey. Because next up we have mango sticky rice, which is one of my favorite Thai dishes. This has a sticky, bouncy, and soft texture, and it's covered in a thick and creamy coconut milk sauce. And then they also top it with a lot of fresh mango slices. And you can tell how juicy and ripe they are by squeezing it. Oh, and did I mention that the mango also tastes like mango? Yeah, this dish really hits the spot. And then we also grabbed a sweet egg custard, which has a smooth and creamy consistency and a caramel-like flavor. Then we tried a Thai-baked Alaska, which has a soft, spongy texture and a strong alcohol flavor because it's soaked in rum. And then we also tried a coconut and bean ice cream, which was super refreshing. All right, so far we've tried all the traditional classics, but now it's time to try something crazy, which brings us to number 4, fried insects. Now these are grilled grasshoppers which have a crunchy, crispy, and airy texture. They kind of taste like a very mild shrimp chip. We also got some crispy water bugs which were super crunchy on the outside and then soft and bouncy on the inside. Honestly, it's kind of like a crunchier and meatier version of a cockroach. We also got some roasted silkworms which were super soft, bouncy, and meaty and had a nutty and savory flavor. And now we're going to talk about number 3, which are the crazy drinks that you can find in Bangkok at 2 a.m. Starting off with the classics, we have fresh coconuts, which I've been drinking straight from the coconut throughout this video, and these are super sweet and refreshing. Then we have iced teas, which come in a variety of flavors like lemon, mint, and coffee. And then we also got an iced coffee, which was surprisingly good. Next up, we have beer. Now in Thailand, you can find beer almost anywhere. You can get Singa, Chang, Leo, and many other types. But if you want to learn more about the insane Thai liquor, then watch my other videos. Moving on to the crazy drinks, we have vodka and energy drinks, which are a popular combo here in Thailand. You can order a Red Bull with vodka, but I always prefer to go with the cheaper brands. And then we also got some whiskey with beer. And then we also got some gin and tonic. And then we also tried this green-colored liquor, which is called Midori. And apparently it's a melon-flavored liqueur. And number 2, we have something a little bit more appetizing, which is street food. But instead of savory food, we're having sweet treats. So starting off, we have deep-fried bananas, which are super soft and squishy inside and then super crispy on the outside. And these are covered in a thick and sweet caramel sauce. These are so freaking good. We also got some deep-fried ice cream, which has a soft and creamy consistency and a sweet vanilla flavor. And then it's covered in a super thick layer of crispy batter. And then we also tried some fried and boiled corn, which was super sweet and juicy. Now, before we get into the most chaotic and exciting thing that you can find in Bangkok at 2 a.m., I want to share with you guys that if you do want to experience all of this amazing food and nightlife, then you should check out the amazing hotels and Airbnbs. All right, now drum roll please for the most craziest thing that you can find in Bangkok at 2 a.m. It is, of course, the legendary boat noodles. This is the original spot where it all began. You can see how busy it is right here. There are so many people lining up to get a bowl of these noodles. You get this super rich, flavorful, and aromatic broth that is filled with chunks of pork and beef and then topped with a bunch of fried garlic and spring onion. The noodles are also super soft and bouncy, and the entire dish really hits the spot. You can get it with pork, beef, or chicken. All right, so those are 8 of the craziest things that you can find in Bangkok at 2 a.m. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then please leave a big thumbs up. And also, don't forget to subscribe because I'll be releasing a lot more Bangkok street food videos in the future. I'll see you guys in the next one. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discover Bangkok's hidden night market gems at 2 a.m. It's very late at night and I'm hungry, so let's find some amazing food. And when I say hidden gems, I mean places that aren't tourist traps and where the locals go. This is going to be an interesting one. Let's go. Our first stop is at a place called Aroy D, which is just off Khao San Road. It's very close to the Grand Palace and Wat Phra. I love this area because it's packed with authentic street food and you can get some really cheap eats here. You may be wondering why I'm filming with my back to all of the action. Well, it's because I'm trying to protect the identity of the vendors in these videos. Many of them have told me that they don't want to be identified or they don't want people approaching them asking for free food. So I respect their wishes by not showing their faces. And if you're watching this and you run one of these stalls, please reach out to me through my contact page. I would love to listen to your story. Anyway, enough about that. Let's eat. The first thing I grab is a $6 whole deal, which is essentially a deep-fried sandwich made from a crispy flatbread called roti. Inside is a mixture of minced crab and pork floss. The pork floss adds a really nice light and fluffy texture to the mix. It's a little bit sweet and a little bit sour, but overall it tastes very bland. To fix this, I dip it into some of their homemade chili powder and lime juice. And whoa, now this thing is full of flavor. It's spicy, it's sour, it's garlicky. And the crunchier elements add more textural contrast. Now I'm sorry to say this, but the crab meat inside wasn't that fresh. It had a weird metallic taste to it, so I wouldn't be rushing to get this again. But it was still pretty fun to eat. Next up, I got a $3 whole deal, which is kind of like a thicker version of what I ate earlier. This one had a tuna pie filling, and honestly, it was pretty tasty. The fact that it was freshly cooked meant that the roti was super soft and pliable. I liked how it had been dipped into a batter before being deep fried. This created a fluffy yet crunchy texture that contrasted nicely against the flakier elements of the tuna pie. Even though the ingredients weren't anything mind-blowing, the execution was spot on, and I enjoyed every bite of it. Next up, I grabbed an $8 mango sticky rice, which is one of my favorite Thai desserts. Here it came, beautifully presented in a coconut. I thought to myself, wow, this looks so good. However, once I started eating it, it became pretty obvious that it wasn't the best quality. The sticky rice was a bit dry and hard to chew. The mango tasted strangely metallic, like you were getting a filling. And the coconut milk wasn't that creamy or sweet. Still, it was nice to start off the night with something sweet. As I walked past this next stall, I couldn't help but notice the giant grilled meats hanging from its roof. These included chicken, pork ribs, beef, and even fish. They also had a bunch of grilled seafood on ice, including a massive tiger prawn. I couldn't see any prices listed, so I had no idea how much it would cost. So I simply asked the owner, and he said $10 for the chicken, $15 for the pork ribs, and $20 for the beef. Those seemed pretty reasonable, so I went for the beef. When it arrived, I was impressed with how juicy and glistening it looked. Honestly, it was so tender and delicious that I could have eaten it just by itself without dipping it into anything. However, they did have two sauces on offer, a sweeter one and a spicier one. And both of these complemented the beef really well. The sweet sauce had a lovely caramel sweetness, and the spicy one brought the heat while remaining rich and creamy. In between bites, I was thinking to myself, this is some of the best beef I've ever tried. Absolutely delicious. I stumbled across this next store purely by accident. I literally tripped over its entrance. They sold a wide range of refreshing drinks, including sparkling water with popping candy. I got a $1.50 whole deal, which had a strong coffee taste with some cream and sugar added. Overall, it was pretty decent, although I do wish it had been a little bit stronger. Then I grabbed a $1 iced tea, which was insanely sweet. It almost felt like drinking liquid caramel. If you're a fan of sweet treats, then you'll love this one. Just down the road, I found this store which sold a variety of colorful shaved ice desserts. Prices ranged from $4 for the most basic one to $7 for a really extravagant one. I went for the $7 option, which had a blue, red, and white coconut milk base and loads of toppings such as red beans, corn, grass jelly, and coconut. Sadly, it wasn't great. The flavors were all over the place and none of them complemented each other. The coconut was overly sweet and the jelly was just weird. On top of that, the whole thing had a strange, icy texture that didn't feel good in the mouth. Honestly, I struggled to finish this one. At this point, I needed a break from all of the crazy flavors, so I decided to get a simple one mango, which was absolutely delicious. I loved how sweet, juicy, and refreshing it was. Sometimes simple is best, and this was definitely one of those cases. After my mango, I got a $2.50 whole deal, which was nice but nothing special. The coffee had a dark roast and was pretty bitter. The addition of condensed milk helped balance out the flavors somewhat, but it still wasn't great. This next stall had a huge selection of freshly blended fruit shakes. I got a $1 shake, which was quite thick and extremely sweet. It had a lovely fruity flavor, but it was a little bit artificial tasting. Then I followed the sound of singing and drums and got a $3 coconut, which was really nice. It was super refreshing and had a subtle coconutty flavor. After this, I walked a bit further down the road and got a $3.50 whole deal. This one was quite weak and watery compared to the others that I've had tonight. It had a mild coffee flavor and wasn't anything special. Next up, I got a $2 iced tea, which was nice and refreshing. I liked how it had a smooth and slightly floral taste, but it lacked a little bit of sweetness for my liking. We are now at our final stop for the night. We're at a stall selling freshly grilled corn. It costs $1.50 per cob. I noticed that they had been grilling the cobs over an open flame, and they were putting a lot of effort into flipping them constantly to make sure that they were evenly cooked. That got me interested, so I bought one and started eating it. It had a really nice, sweet and buttery flavor, and the softer inner sections felt amazing after being cooked like that. I loved it. Overall, I spent $39.50 for everything that I ate tonight. I think that's pretty reasonable considering the quality and quantity of food that I got. Thanks for joining me on this night market adventure. See you in the next video.